Hey guys, so welcome to my channel. My name is Chome and I'll be giving a little testimony of what happened to me, and I'm still working. No, okay, so guys, I won't say the school, but it's a boarding school in Lusaka. But yes, so in my 10th grade, right, I went to school like a normal term and everything. So I go to school, and now this term I'm in class doing a civic education session. And so during that session, I'm seated in class, and then I experience some very sharp pain. So when I experience this sharp pain, I'm wondering where the pain is coming from, and so I decide to like try and turn my neck, but then my neck is so, like I just can't move. And so I'm in a situation where I'm like, I don't know what the problem is, but what do I do to help myself? I'm like, there's nothing I can do here. So I decided to tell my friend, and my friend thinks I'm being a clown. Okay, yes, of course I am a clown, but like she thinks I'm laughing or I'm joking around about everything. So she decides to start pushing my neck, and that whole person, I'm like, it's painful. And so I start crying. And my teacher of civic education at that moment was my class teacher. So she's like, maybe you should go and see the nurse. But before that, she decides to call me out of class and she prays for me. So we pray together. Then she's like, go to the nurse, you'll be fine. And so guys, I'm just in a situation, I'm like, where is all this coming from? Like, it was such a sudden pain. So I go to the nurse, and then when I reach there, she asks me like, what's wrong? So my classmates took me there because I was crying and I was in great pain. So when we reached there, the nurse is like, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't even talk at that point. So my classmate actually answers. She's like, oh no, she just experienced some really sharp pain, but we all don't know what the problem is. And then the nurse is there, and she's like, but does she have a condition? So my classmate is like, no, she doesn't. And then she's like, I know someone who's got a back condition and they don't even cry that much. So is she just not trying to fake so she can go home? Bear in mind, it's a boarding school, everyone wants to go home. But like, why would I fake to an extent where I'm just like crying for such a long time? I'm just there, I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm seated there and I didn't say anything because I was in great pain, guys. I was just crying. And then she's like, no, I don't think, okay, she literally thinks I'm faking all this, right? So I decided to keep quiet, and then she's like, okay, prepare her for a jab. I'll give her a jab so she can be better. So I'm there and I'm like, okay, so my classmate prepares me for a jab. She literally makes me sit so I can like get jabbed. So I lay down in bed and she jabs me. So at that point I'm like, okay, so I'll be better anytime soon. So I'm seated there, guys. She gets to like I get to notice that this pain is so unusual. Like, I've gotten jabs before and this pain was so unusual. But then I'm just sitting there. So my classmate goes back to class and I'm there. And I'm so uncomfortable in that room because bear in mind her welcoming wasn't so sweet. So I'm like, okay, I can't stay here. So I'm just like, can I now go back to class? And then she's like, you manage? I'm like, yes, I will. And I vividly remember her jabbing with diclofenac. Guys, I have a phobia for that medicine, diclofenac. And she rubbed me with deep heat. I don't like deep heat. Like, every single time deep heat, I'm just like, hey, what? Don't just keep it away from me. But yes, so now she jabs me and everything. So after getting the jab and everything, I walk to class. But then while I'm walking to class, I'm in great pain. Like, my leg feels like it's so painful, and I'm having this numb pain, and like it's so numb, I couldn't feel anything. And I'm like, okay. So I reach class and I'm seated in class, and this numbness keeps getting worse and worse. But then I couldn't really like say, because at that point I felt like it was the jab and it would eventually get okay, because I'm like, okay, maybe it's a side effect of the drug that she jabbed me with. So I'm seated, and then like my friend is there. So at lunchtime, at break time, my friends come check up on me. I'm like, I won't leave class. So at lunchtime, my friends are like, you have to leave class. I still didn't leave. And so now after afternoon prep, it's now time to go to the dorms and everything. My friends papa me there. I reach the dorm and like my leg is still, numb. And that's lunch, and that happened earlier in the morning before like 10. So I'm in the dorm, I'm seated in the dorm, and then a few minutes later, sorry. So a few minutes later, while I'm in the dorm, I asked my friends to escort me to the bathroom, and like this time they still had to papa me. That was on a Friday. So Friday, the day ends and everything. Saturday in the morning, we were supposed to have an event at school for a certain club. So we had invited a certain school to come through. And so now the head teacher sees that someone is like putting me on their back to take me to the bathroom. So she's so confused, like, why are you on someone's back? I'm like, oh, then my friends are like, she's not too well and everything. And then the head teacher is like, wasn't I told by the nurse that someone is critically ill and everything? We didn't answer anything. Saturday morning comes, I wake up, and guys, my neck is still in the same state, like it can't still move. My leg is still numb. I'm like, okay. I tried to move my leg, guys, but I told you my leg was paralyzed. It couldn't move. Okay. I'm like, maybe it's just for a few minutes. I stayed like that, and now I'm just in a situation where I'm like, what if I'm like this for the rest of my life? Hey! So guys, I stay, like my leg is now not moving. Like now it's the whole leg that's not moving, right? So after all that, the head teacher comes and gets my mother's number. So they contact my mother, and so now when they contact my mother, they tell my mother, like, your daughter is not too well and everything, like. So they call my mother, and now after calling my mother, she hears that I'm not fine, I'm paralyzed. So she rushes there like in a few minutes, and she's there because my place and school were not so far. And so after rushing me this, so now my mom comes and she picks me up, and like they papa me to the car. So she picks me up and takes me to the car. And so she's so worried, like she's so confused, like what's the name of this?
Ati nichani.
She asks me like, which hospital should we go to? At that point I was in so much pain, and I'm just like, let's go to any hospital as long as I'm out of all this, because my neck is still paining, my leg is not moving. So we rushed to Victoria Hospital. Okay, so now he tells us to come back on a Monday and see my physiotherapist. So we go there on Monday, and when we reach there, my first physio session was so nice. And so now remember, when we reached the day we saw the neurologist, he tells me like, so you get physiotherapy, but then at the end of it all, you won't be perfectly fine. Like it's either you're going to have a permanent limp, or you just, like, he just tells me like, you will not be fine, like permanent limp. Permanent limp. I'm like, okay. So we leave the hospital, and I'm so concerned. I can't have a permanent limp. So we pray about it with my family and everything like that. And over time, I had my physio sessions, and I remember I was told I only have 5 because I'm in boarding school and I have to go back. So I'll just have 5 sessions. But the minimum I was supposed to take were 10 physio sessions. But then this time they told me you go for 5 because you're in boarding school. I go for my first 5 sessions, and when I'm going for the 5th one this time, I'm so excited because it's the last session. And so at that point I had become a day scholar, so I could be going and coming back from school. So guys, I'm told I'll be like finishing my session on that day. I go to the hospital, and now she's like, no, we have to extend your physio sessions because you don't seem to have improvement.
I wonder. Yeah?
Okay. I'm so upset and bitter because what do you mean I have to continue on these things?
Moyo is so painful. Sometimes when I'm talking about this issue, kufuna.
And then I go for the next 5 because she added 5 more, and that's like my 10th physio session. I'm convinced that that's the last one. She adds another 5. I cried because no. So that is the 10th physio session, and now I'm convinced now, like, okay, I go for another 5. So my 15th physio session, she goes again and she's like, you need to add another 5.
What are we talking about?
I'm never going to stop all this, and I'm so sad, like, ish. So I had to finish the whole term, and I would experience some very bad pains. Like during the week, I would just be in pain. I would not go to school because of so much pain and everything. And so when I'm done with my physio sessions, I would still limp a bit, like here and there I would limp and everything. But then, like, from then I was so scared because I felt like I'd have a permanent limp. But then remember why he would, because like Christ, guys, I mean, he's such a good God. And so I saw how faithful God had been in my life at that point, and I had so much faith that I would be fine and I would not have to go through me being a permanent, lame girl. And my mom was so broken, because imagine giving birth to like a normal child and now you get to be sick and like paralyzed and everything. It was such a traumatizing moment. But then I was still so grateful to God, because I reached a point where I'm like, maybe this is a way of me telling my testimony. But then at the end of it all, guys, I walk very normal. Like, you can't actually tell that I was paralyzed once and everything. And I'm so grateful to God, because trust me, He's a very good God. And all those scriptures that we read are not fake. So my greatest advice to everyone out there, have faith, have faith, and know that God is always there for you, because even through the greatest like struggles, remember He actually says, in the darkest moments I'll still be there. Remember, God again comes back and says, though though you walk through the valley of death, He will still be there for you. And so guys, please, when you speak things, speak life, because the Bible actually says the tongue has the power of life and death. Life and death lie in the tongue. Speak what you want to be, and you will be what you speak. Because even as you live right now and as you speak, you're a testimony of what you once said back in the days. So each and every one of us should by all means try to speak positive words and words of affirmation, because God is very faithful and He is true and just to His words. So all in all, guys, I'm still very fine, and I don't have a permanent limb. My physio sessions are done, and I'm over the trouble. I'm not over it, but yes, I'm over the trouble by God's grace. So guys, stay tuned for another story time or something. But yes, this is a real life story. It's not something I made up and everything. But yes, guys, please make sure you follow my channel, share, and make sure your friends subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Bye, guys.